Alexander of Macedon, the boy king turned world conqueror, stood at the banks of the Hydaspes River in 326 BC. His journey had been long and arduous, filled with countless battles and conquests. His eyes, hardened by years of relentless campaigning, surveyed the turbulent waters and the lush landscape beyond. The river's roar was a reminder of the challenges that lay ahead, but Alexander was undeterred. He had led his weary veterans from the shores of Greece across the vast Persian Empire, crushing every foe in his path. Each step forward was a testament to their resilience and unwavering loyalty. Darius, the mighty Persian emperor, had fallen to his blade. This victory was not just a personal triumph, but a monumental shift in the balance of power in the ancient world. Now at the edge of the known world, a new and formidable opponent awaited, King Porus of the Pauravas. Porus was renowned for his bravery and strategic acumen, making him a worthy adversary. Alexander's ambition knew no bounds. His dreams were not confined to the territories he had already conquered. He envisioned a world where his influence stretched to the very edges of the map. He dreamt of reaching the edge of the world, the mythical Oceanus that encircled the lands. This vision drove him forward, pushing the limits of what was thought possible. But first, he had to subdue the kingdoms that lay between him and his ultimate goal. Each kingdom represented a new challenge, a new test of his leadership and military prowess. The Punjab, a fertile land crisscrossed by mighty rivers, was the next obstacle in his path. Its strategic importance was clear, and controlling it would be crucial for further expansion. And standing defiant, ready to defend his realm, was King Porus. His determination to protect his land was evident in the fierce resolve of his soldiers. Alexander was a master of strategy and tactics. His ability to adapt and innovate on the battlefield had been key to his numerous victories. He had inherited a well-trained army from his father, Philip II of Macedon, but he transformed it into an unstoppable force. His reforms and leadership had turned them into a cohesive and formidable unit. His army was a diverse force, composed of Macedonians, Greeks, and even some conquered peoples. This diversity was a strength, bringing together different skills and perspectives. What bound them together was their unshakable faith in their young king, a leader who always fought alongside his men, sharing their dangers and hardships. This bond was the foundation of their success. The stage was set for a clash of titans. The tension in the air was palpable as both armies prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Alexander's insatiable hunger for conquest pitted him against Porus, a proud king determined to defend his realm. The stakes were high, and both leaders knew that the outcome would have far-reaching consequences. The outcome of this battle would determine the fate of the Punjab and reverberate through history, cementing Alexander's legacy as one of the greatest military commanders of all time. His name would be remembered for centuries, a symbol of ambition, strategy, and unparalleled leadership.
Across the swirling waters of the Hydaspes, King Porus watched Alexander's army with wary eyes. The river, a natural barrier, was both a challenge and a defense. Porus knew that the coming battle would be one of the most significant in his life. A giant of a man, Porus was renowned for his physical strength and courage. His towering presence was legendary, and stories of his valor were told far and wide. He was not just a king, but a symbol of resistance and bravery. He was a fearsome warrior, and his reputation preceded him. Tales of his battles and victories were known even beyond his kingdom. His enemies knew that facing Porus meant facing a formidable force. The very sight of him on his war elephant, leading his men in battle, was enough to strike terror into the hearts of his enemies. His war elephant, adorned with armor and decorations, was a symbol of his might and determination.
Porus was no mere tribal chieftain. He was a leader of great vision and ambition, a ruler who understood the complexities of governance and warfare. He was a shrewd and powerful king, ruler of a prosperous kingdom. His court was filled with wise advisors and brave warriors, all loyal to their king and his cause. He understood the threat Alexander posed to his realm, and was determined to repel the Macedonian invasion. Porus spent countless hours strategizing, preparing his men, and fortifying his defenses. He would defend his land, his people, and his honor with every fiber of his being. His warriors, inspired by his leadership, were ready to lay down their lives for their king and their homeland. The relationship between Alexander and Porus was complex. It was a mix of rivalry, respect, and mutual admiration. Both leaders recognized the greatness in each other. Alexander, ever the student of history and admirer of great men, held a certain respect for his adversary. He saw in Porus a leader who, like himself, was driven by a sense of destiny and purpose. He recognized in Porus a kindred spirit, a leader who fought for his people and his kingdom. This mutual recognition created a unique bond between the two, even as they prepared for battle. He saw in him a reflection of himself, another king driven by ambition and the pursuit of glory. Both were men of vision, determined to carve their names into the annals of history. However, this respect did not diminish Alexander's determination to conquer. He was relentless in his pursuit of expanding his empire, and saw the battle with Porus as a crucial step in his campaign. He saw in Porus a worthy opponent, a challenge to his own martial prowess. The upcoming battle would not just be a test of strength but a test of strategy, leadership, and willpower. The upcoming battle would be a test of skill, a clash of wills between two extraordinary leaders. It would be a defining moment, not just for Porus and Alexander but for the history of their respective empires. The Hydaspes River, swollen by the monsoon rains, presented a daunting obstacle to Alexander's advance. The river, which was usually a serene and manageable waterway, had transformed into a formidable barrier, its waters swollen and wild. Its currents raged, turning the river into a churning torrent. The once calm surface now roared with the power of nature, making any attempt to cross seem perilous. The opposite bank, where Porus had strategically positioned his army, seemed frustratingly out of reach. His forces were well prepared, taking full advantage of the natural barrier the river provided. The monsoon season in the Punjab was a time of both life and destruction. The rains revitalized the land, bringing lush greenery and fertile soil, but they also brought chaos and unpredictability. The rains brought much-needed water to the parched land, but they also transformed the rivers into raging torrents. The Hydaspes, in particular, became a symbol of nature's duality, nourishing yet destructive. The Hydaspes, usually a broad and placid river, became a treacherous obstacle, its currents capable of sweeping away men and horses alike. The river's transformation was a testament to the power of the monsoon. For Alexander's army, already weary from their long journey, the river represented a significant challenge. The soldiers, exhausted and demoralized, faced the daunting task of crossing this natural barrier. Crossing such a formidable obstacle under the watchful eyes of the enemy seemed an impossible task. The Macedonian soldiers knew that any misstep could lead to disaster. The Macedonians were skilled soldiers, but they were not accustomed to fighting in such conditions. The rain and mud made every movement a struggle, testing their endurance and resolve. The rain hampered their movements, making it difficult to maintain formations and use their weapons effectively. The once disciplined ranks of soldiers found themselves in disarray, their usual tactics rendered ineffective. Every moment of delay allowed Porus to strengthen his defenses. He used the time wisely, fortifying his positions and preparing for the inevitable clash. He knew the terrain intimately and used it to his advantage. Porus's knowledge of the land gave him a strategic edge, allowing him to anticipate and counter Alexander's moves. His army, encamped on the higher ground beyond the river, held a commanding position. From their vantage point, they could observe every movement of Alexander's forces. From there, they could rain down arrows and javelins upon any force foolish enough to attempt a crossing. The high ground provided a significant tactical advantage, making any assault across the river a deadly endeavor.